What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P. the Bluff Guy. Hey! And we are back with another Berserk read through. Today we will be reading through chapter 8, at least on my app, chapter 8. But if you're reading based off of the books, it should be the arc Guardians of Desire, chapter 6. But before I get into that, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Also join the Discord. All of these will be linked below in the description box. So make sure you go show some love. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get into this chapter. Again, this will be chapter 8 if you're reading this on like a manga app. But if you're reading this through your books, if any of you guys have like the books, it should be The Guardians of Desire chapter 6. Let's get into it. Okay, so I think we're starting off with like a flashback. We see a pile of dead bodies and a guy that's on the top, and you kind of see the sun behind him. And he says, "Hey, you alive?" "Yeah, more or less." It kind of looked like the silhouette of Griffith, right? I do know what Griffith looked like. I've seen him before, you know. He says, "Man, you sure have the luck of the devil." Okay, it is Griffith, and he says, "Here," and he's handing out his hand towards Guts. Guts is just looking away, but still reaching out. And he has a much smaller sword in this flashback. So this must have been before he got his big slab of metal. So it looked like it was pretty much just a big battle. And he says, "Martyrdom for a merciless god. What a waste. On the battlefield, the life of a common soldier isn't even worth a single piece of silver. In today's world, most people's lives are subject to the whims of a handful of nobility and royalty." And we just see all these dead bodies. We see Griffith looking out towards the sea of bodies, and Guts is sitting on the rock with his sword. Maybe that is the same sword, because it is still a big sword. It just doesn't look as... I don't know. I don't think it's his current sword. It looks a little bit thinner. Griffith says, "Of course, even the king himself can't live exactly as he pleases. And we all disappear in the end, our lives spent never even knowing who we are. We are all the mercy of a great tide, fate, or whatever you wish to call it." Guts listens on to Griffith. "In life, unrelated to one's social standing or class as determined by man, there are some people who by nature are keys that set the world in motion. They are the true elite, as dictated by the golden rule of the universe. That's what I want to know. What is my place in the world? Who am I? What am I capable of? What am I destined for?" And Griffith says, "It's funny. Bruh, so far this chapter right here has probably had the most dialogue. Like, I'm not used to having this much dialogue in a Berserk chapter. I mean, last chapter had a good amount of dialogue as well, especially with God Hand and everything. But this chapter so far is already starting off with a lot of dialogue. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it, because sometimes when there's no dialogue, it's, you know, it's a little weird. Just saying Gut says ... You know, it's a little weird. So we get this cover page, and Griffith says, "You're the first person I've ever spoken to like this." We see Griffith looks on, and right next to him is like not a silhouette, but it's like a picture of him now as a God Hand. There's like someone speaking, and it says, "At that time he shone before me as something before, noble and larger than life." I wonder if that's Guts speaking. I'm not sure. And it says, The Guardians of Desire chapter 6. So we cut back to the present day, and we see all of God Hand, and we see Teresia And that mark, that branding, I think it's still headed her way. I'm surprised it hasn't hit her yet, right? Surprised it didn't hit her yet. So yeah, we'll get a little shot of the labyrinth, and now we see Teresia still hasn't been hit with this branding just yet. The Martian God Hand, he says, "Come now, speak it. Do you offer this girl as a sacrifice to demonkind or not?" Okay, so I thought it was just moving at a snail's pace like a lot of anime and manga does. But I guess he's still holding off because he he doesn't want to go through with it, or I guess he can't go through with it until there's some type of contract or an agreement. And we see Count's face look in sadness. So we see a shot of Big Chubbs, Little Chubbs, and Medusa. And then we see Griffith looking down at the head of the Count. Puck says, "Teresia." Gut says, "What are you waiting for? Get over here now." Puck says, "But." Gut says, "Or else your precious friend's going to be branded with one of those things. If you don't want that to happen, hurry up and heal my arm. That's what you're good for, isn't it?" So Puck goes and rush off to heal Guts' arm. Guts is thinking, "I'm beneath your notice, huh? This petty existence is beneath your notice." I like that shot of Guts just looking on with a like a little evil smirk. Godhand says, "What's wrong, Count? Why are you hesitating?" Then the Count says, "Teresia," I think it's Little Chub speaking. I'm not sure which one is speaking. Or no, it's Medusa. She says, "If you keep this up before you know it, your life will snuff out. You already belong to us, even after you die. Don't think you'll be resting in peace in the afterworld." Griffith says, "Behold, Count," and he points. And I'm not sure what he does, but I see kind of like a line. I don't know if it's going behind Teresia or going through Teresia, but there's like a line. I don't know if it's like something in the distance or what, but it looked like it might be going through her, but not causing any damage. I'm not sure what that is. Teresia is like at the edge of the platform she's sitting on, and she looks down. And then we see Guts, Puck still healing his arm, and I guess Guts is trying to get up, and he's feeling pain. He says, "Oh, God." Puck says, "Guts." Puck looks on, and Puck says, "What is it?" "It's enormous, an endless swirl of consciousness. Endless and evil. As if all the evil in the world were gathered here." We see some type of like whirlwind or something. Like a vortex or something. And it's a bunch of what looks to be souls just rotating around in like a vortex. We get a double page spread and we see this labyrinth, and in the background you see like this big vortex. It almost looked like a cloud, like we're like if you're looking down at the earth through space and you just see a bunch of clouds, or even like in the airplane you see all these clouds. That's what it looked like a cloud of a sky of souls. From a sky view we see everybody in this labyrinth. Guts looks to the left and the Count says, "Oh no, that's not." Godhand says, "But it is, Count." Griffith says, "It's only a small portion, of course. This is hell." That's what that is. That's hell. I'm assuming this is still Griffith talking. He says, "Count, the vibrations of your soul are moving you ever closer to demonkind. When your body of flesh expires, your spirit will be whisked away by a wave of demonkind straight to hell. And you shall wander within that dark swirl of souls for all eternity. Before long, you won't even be able to preserve any final remnants of your individual self. Like a drop of water, you'll simply dissolve, becoming no more than another swell in an ocean of dark souls." I mean, bro, like this is what happened when you make a deal with the devil, you know. In this case, demons. This was pretty much the Count's fate when he first took the deal with Godhand in killing his wife. We see Medusa, and I don't know if she's the one saying this or if this is still Griffith talking, but they say that's the fate of those who get caught up with demon kind. Yeah, like I said. So that's pretty much the fate of God Hand as well, if they die. What I'm assuming. And then when you get a shot of Guts still laid out, Puck says, caught up with demon kind. And he looks at the branding on Guts' neck. Does that mean Guts? Hold on. So does that mean Guts is also fated for hell as well? Because, I mean, he had no choice in being this sacrifice. And nor would Teresa. You know, if Teresa gets this branding, you know, she didn't make any deals or anything. So are the people who get branded, are they also condemned towards hell as well? Because that's kind of what I feel like it's implied by how Puck is responding when he's seen that branding, you know, because technically once you get branded, you are kind of caught up with demon kind as well. So yeah, we see Guts and we see hell in the background. Then we get like a closer view of all the souls within that's trapped within hell. And God Hand says, count. Only 2 paths remain open to you. Be reborn, living among demons and continuing your existence among demon kind, or have that existence absorbed by demon kind and revert to nothingness. Big Chub says, just one single phrase. I offer you my daughter for sacrifice. That's all you have to say. Little Chub says, and then your daughter will be branded. Medusa says, the child will then belong to demon kind. Wow, that's... So, again, I don't know if that means she's fated for hell. I don't know if that means she's fated for hell, but her and Guts. Then we get a shot of Teresia with the branding right in front of her. What happens if she just jumps? You know, what happens if she just jumps down that labyrinth? Could they still brand her since she's, you know, could she avoid being branded? I think she's contemplating jumping, honestly. I think she's contemplating jumping. Because she's like looking down this labyrinth, like looking down the edge. And she says, The Martian says, speak it. One phrase. Just one single phrase. Come on, Count. I mean, I know you made some bad decisions in life, bro, but don't do this to your daughter, man. Don't do this to your daughter. You know, I think he's going to do it, but when he decides to do it, Guts somehow going to make the save. You know, that's what I'm thinking. The Count is thinking, so cold, all my blood is flowing out of my body. Is this the end for me? Only to die as some carved up monster, wretched and horrible. Only to be sucked into that vortex for all eternity. And we look into the Count's eyes and you see a tear, but then you see Teresia's reflection in the background or in his eye. And he says, no, I don't want to die. And then we get an even closer look with Teresa. You see more of Teresa in this man's eye, her reflection. And now you just see the reflection of Teresia's body like even clearer, like her full body and all the details. And she's crying. And now we see Teresa and she says, Father, bruh, man, like, bro, this is deep right here, man. This, like, what is he, like, bro, if the Count does this, man, like, come on, bro. You can't do this to your little girl. Like, yes, I get that you're going to be fated to hell, but you chose this path. Your daughter is innocent in this. You can't condemn her life because you made bad decisions. Bro, I feel bad for this girl, man. I really do. I feel bad for this girl. And the Count is starting to look like he's about to falter and he's about to give up his daughter in order to save himself, which is sad. We see a big portrait of the Count, his wife, and Teresia. You know, the little family portrait with Teresia in the front, in front of this portrait. It's kind of like we're looking at the view of what the Count sees. You know, he's looking at his daughter, and then he's looking at this portrait of his daughter and his wife together. Bruh. I mean, I really feel for this little girl. I really feel for her, man. Like, because I don't think the Count, I think the Count's going to want to save himself. I think he's going to be selfish, and he's going to want to save himself. And Guts is going to have to save this girl. So we see that the light of the Brandon gets like super bright, and it almost blinds Teresia. She says, Kaya! And Guts and Puck looks on, and so does God Hand, and the Martian says, the thread of fate has been severed. I wonder what that means. The thread of fate has been severed. I don't think he accepted it. I don't think he accepted it. I think the Count made the right decision. We see all these dead souls. This is a double page spread. We see all these souls. It's like a arm of dead souls just reaching out of the pits of hell. They're coming towards the labyrinth or the platform where God Hand and the Count and Teresia and Guts and Puck are. So we see the Count and his tentacles are kind of like reaching out, right? They're kind of reaching out. And as we go down, it's like that tentacle of dead souls pretty much assimilates with the Count. So I'm pretty sure they're preparing to take him to hell. So yeah, it looked like he's being pulled into hell. Puck is thinking to himself, the dead are dragging the Count down to hell. And you even see one of the souls looks like Vargas. One of the dead souls look like Vargas, like Guts notices this. So that means, damn, Vargas was pretty much fated to go to hell. Wow. Did he deserve such a fate? Did Vargas deserve the fate to go to hell as well? He's among the souls. He's among the souls of hell. So I'm assuming when he died, he went to hell. Man, that's tough. Guts is thinking Vargas, and we see the Count being pulled in, and he's screaming, ah! Vargas, though, Vargas's soul looks happy, though. He looks happy that he's, bringing the Count with him. The Count yells, Teresia! Teresia notices, and she says, Father! As the Count dies, he actually does look a little more human. He looks a little bit more human than, or his human form at least. And the Count reaches out, and Teresia reaches back. The Count says, Teresia! And Teresia yells, and he gets pulled and dragged into hell. We see Guts and Puck look on. Puck says, Teresia. And then we see the souls of the dead like grab Guts' leg. So what, they're trying to take him as well because he's a sacrifice? Man, how does Guts get out of this? And they got his leg, and they say, a sacrifice. So they're pretty much dragging Guts to hell as well, and Puck says, Guts! Puck says, that's right. Guts has the brand. So, that means if you get branded, you are pretty much fated to hell. I think Griffith even said, either Griffith or the Martian, one of God Hand said, once you get that brand, you belong to demonkind. So that means you also belong to hell. God Hand, I'm pretty sure them guys belong to hell as well. Bars. You like that rhyme right there. Bars. But Griffith is just looking on. He's just looking on as Guts gets dragged in Guts is loading up his arm cannon, and then he has it loaded and he aims and he says, "Griffith!" And he fires at Griffith. And we see the round head towards Griffith. The round is approaching Griffith little by little, and Griffith's eyes get wide. So this round explodes right next to Griffith. So I don't know if Griffith has like some type of force field or something. I'm not too sure. But it stopped it. Like he has like an invisible force field that protects him. Guts also, it looks like Guts actually got loose from the dead souls that were grabbing him. And Puck says, "Guts!" So we see Guts like fall back. So I guess he at least escaped the clutches of those dead souls. And then we see the silhouette of God Hand, and it looks like they are disappearing. So Guts was managed to break himself free. I don't know if that was his goal or if he was just like, "Hey, if I'm gonna die and go to hell, I'm gonna at least take you with me, Griffith." That's what it looked like might have been the case. But either way, it got him loose. He's loose now and he's free. And I think God Hand are going away. They're, disappearing. The fact that what they came there for, they came there to pretty much offer the Count a wish in return for a sacrifice. And the Count, he didn't accept it. So he ended up going to hell. And in the midst of him going to hell, Guts almost got dragged into hell as well. But, they served their purpose there, so now they're going away. And Guts is watching as they pretty much leave. So we see God Hand look on as the portal close, and, Guts is, pretty much like eyeballing Griffith, and Griffith also as the portal is like shrinks, all you see is Griffith's eye pretty much staring back at Guts. And then it closes. So I wonder if Griffith could return to the human world at any time, or is this something like the only way to have access to Griffith is through the Bahilit, right? And so Guts is going to have to pretty much figure a way back into that labyrinth world and pretty much summon Griffith in order to eventually get his revenge. Or do Griffith sometimes return to the human world and Guts may eventually run into him and try to get his revenge? Because I'm pretty sure there's going to have to come a time where Guts and Griffith are going to have to fight. I just believe, that's what I believe. We see like a wide shot of the town they were in. The vortex went away, so the portal closed, and the sky is just clear. All the clouds are like off to the side, and you see the stars and the moon and the trees under the castle. The people are looking on at the moon, they're looking on at the sky at what just happened. Guts's sword, I want to say it fell and then repositioned, because it looked like there's two swords, but I want to say it's just kind of like it fell and then it bounced off and then repositioned. That's what I think happened. But I'm not, but it looked like two swords next to Guts. And you also see the Bahilit back in its normal state kind of fall to the ground as well. And then Guts is clutching his arm, and Puck says, "Are we back?" So we see like a hole in the castle, and we see Teresia looking down like she's gasping. And then we see the dead body of the Count on like a rock with the moon in the background. So that's a dope shot, man. I will say this, man. Guts, or I mean Berserk, this series, it really uses some great shots. You know, like sometimes when we get like a shot of the night sky or whatever, and the stars and the clouds are like dispersed. Beautiful shot right there. And the shot earlier in the chapter where we got like hell, when we first see hell and you see this vortex, and then we still see the labyrinth in all of God's hand, but we see hell in the background, and it's like big. It's super big, right? But Griffith says that's only a fraction of hell, I guess. And now we get this shot of the body of the Count, and then the moon in the background and the stars in the night sky. Dope, man. Dope shot, man. Really enjoyed the artistry of this series. Very beautiful artistry. Puck is calling out to Teresia, and she says no. And she swipes at Puck and says no. Teresia is screaming, no, no, no. Get away from me. It's a lie. All of it. The whole place. It's a lie. Take me back to my room. I want to go back to my room. I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. If I have to stay here in this place, I'd rather be dead. Man. That's tough, man. It's tough to have to endure all that, you know? That's tough for a young woman, especially a young woman without much experience in the world. To her first experience outside of her room, you know, from being in her room for so long. Her first experience being outside of her room was pretty much to see her dad as a demon and then go to this whole different dimension and almost get sacrificed by her own dad. And then, you know, her dad refuses and he gets dragged to hell. Bruh, that is a hell of a ride. Puck looks on and Teresia looks to the right. Guts is standing over her with his like legs crippled. I wonder if it's going to be like something where like Guts kind of takes her in. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that Puck is kind of like going to be Guts' companion, even if, you know, Guts doesn't fully accept it. Puck seems like he's going to be around for most of the journey at least. So is he going to like, you know, I guess take her in to watch her? Because that's going to be a dangerous life for her to live if he does. So I don't think that's going to be the case. But, you know, kind of like when you watch a series like Inuyasha and you got like the little fox demon that follows Inuyasha, and Inuyasha takes him in. I don't know. I don't know why I'm bringing Inuyasha in with Berserk. It's like completely, vastly different series. This one's a little way more gory than some Inuyasha. Inuyasha's like a kiddie park compared to this series. It's like a kiddie park. Guts looks at Teresia and says, "Go ahead. Kill yourself." Damn. Bruh, Guts is brutally honest. That's for sure. This man is a savage on the honesty, man. Like, he has no filter. My man Guts has no filter. He's like, hey, die. Shoot. I don't care. And then we see these tears fall from Teresia's eyes. Puck slaps Guts, and Guts, like, rubs his cheek. And then we see Puck's hand is, like, pulsating. Like, that hurt him more than it hurt Guts. And he says, "That's so heartless, Guts. Don't you understand in the least what Teresia's just been through?" And then Guts says, "All right then, why not just die? Just give up if it's that bad. Come on. It's simple. All you have to do is slit your wrists with that thing. Then it'll all be over. The end of your worries." And we see the knife, like Guts, I guess, threw his knife in front of her. And the knife is right in front of Teresia. See, I kind of think Guts isn't really, I don't really think he wants her to kill herself. I think he's kind of saying this as like he knows that she's not going to do it. But, You know, it's kind of like tough love, I'm kind of thinking. But, you know, I could be wrong. Guts could just be like, yeah, kill yourself. Go ahead. You know. Or it could be some type of tough love that Guts is trying to give her because he know that she's not going to go through with it. Guts says, you'll probably end up going to heaven. Or would you prefer hell? At least that way you might get to see your father and mother. And Puck says, he's serious. That jerk means what he's saying. Guts says, it's your life. Do what you want with it. And then Teresia looks at the knife and then she starts reaching for the knife. She has her hand over the knife and Puck says, Teresia. Teresia has this knife in her hands and she has it like over her wrist. Like she's about to really slit her wrist. And then we see Puck throw his body in front of the blade. And he says, whoa, hey. What do you think you're doing there, Teresia? Stop it. Snap out of this. This is crazy. And he's like grabbing onto the knife. The ground under Teresia starts crumbling. Gus is just watching as the ground crumble. You know, I guess he already don't care if she dies. Hey, whatever. I think he might save her though. She starts to fall through this hole in the ground and starts screaming and has these tears in her eyes. And Gus is looking and then his eye gets wide. Guts puts his sword out and she grabs a hold of his sword, avoiding falling to her death. So that shows if she really wanted to die, she wouldn't have caught the sword. And so Guts just extended an olive branch for her to continue living and gave her the choice if she really wanted to die or if she didn't. But that split second decision force her to show her real motives, and she really wanted to live. So yes, she doesn't want to die, and Guts pretty much saves her for that. Teresa is holding on, and her hands are bleeding, and she's crying. She really doesn't want to die, and she says, She's screaming out, and maybe Guts could like turn the sword to the right, so then the flat part she could kind of, you know, rest a little of her arms on the flat part. Guts pulls her up and pretty much throws her to the ground. You know, I get it. He doesn't have that much strength, so he had to throw her. That's the best he could do to save her. He didn't have enough strength just to carry her above the hole and then place her down. So he had to just throw her. Teresia is laying on the ground. Puck says, Teresia, are you all right? My God, that's terrible. We see her hands are bleeding from grabbing onto that blade. And we see Guts grabbing his blade by like the blade part, not the handle. He's like hugging it. It looked like he's blowing into his hands. Like his hands are in pain. Hey, the man been through a lot. I'm pretty sure his hands do hurt. Puck says, hold on. Let me treat your wounds now. And he's like grabbing her hand. And he's thinking Teresia. And Teresia says, it all started after you came. It's all because of you. No, it ain't because of Guts. It's because your dad decided to be a demon and be a very shitty man, killing people and torturing people. It ain't Guts' fault. You know? It's not Guts' fault. Because of you. And Guts looks on. He's not bothered. I'm pretty sure Guts is used to people blaming him for things. And Guts is like walking, using his sword as like a cane. Hey, that's a great use for a cane, right? That is a great use for him to use as like a walking stick. And Guts says, from those eyes, it looks like you don't plan to die anytime soon. That's fine by me. He like pulls the dead body of that old guy, the old guy who was serving the count. And then he grabs the bahilet. I guess the bahilet must have been under the old guy. I'm not too sure. Or no, I get it. He was pulling his cape, like his cape that he wears. He was pulling that from the old guy, and then he grabbed the bahilet. Teresia says, I'll kill you, devil, someday. I swear. I'll kill you. Oh boy. Hey, that to me, that's just saying that she's gonna come back later in the story. maybe older. I don't know. Maybe she might become a demon. Maybe she might find a way to, become a demon, access God hand and become a demon. I don't know, but I don't think this is the end that we see of Teresia. I'm gonna just say that right now. I don't think this is the last time we see her. Puck says, Teresia, how could you? Guts says, fine. I'm ready whenever you are. Then Puck says, Guts. And he says, hey, wait up. And he follows that on after Guts. So I'm glad that she doesn't become like a companion, right? I'm glad that that doesn't happen because it would be kind of bad for her to stick around Guts. It'd be pretty dangerous. Then we see Guts and he's like, he has these tears in his eyes and he's crying. So man, this really shows that like Guts ain't heartless, man. Like it's just the man just probably been through a lot. He's probably helped a lot of people, and then just like he helped this girl, and she still sat there and said, "I'll kill you" and everything, even though he saved her life, and she still wants to kill him, and for her to say that had the sting right there, So I'm pretty sure this isn't the first time Guts has been through something like this, where he tried to help somebody, but all in all, the person he helps, they still want him to die, and they still like have nothing but resentment towards him, I don't think Guts wants to be this heartless, cruel person, but it's just that's what life has molded him to be. That's what I'm assuming. Life has just molded him to be such a way. Guts is like wiping his face, and he's walking out of the castle chamber doors, and we get The Guardians of Desire, chapter 6, and that is the last of the chapter. Man, bro, that was a good chapter. Like, I liked the last chapter, especially with God Hand, but I really love this chapter because we kind of get more of Guts and who Guts is, and why he's not as heartless as he kind of the front he puts on. That front that he puts on is more of a survival thing. We start this chapter with a small flashback where we got Griffith and we got Guts, and they just had some big battle, and Griffith is helping Guts up. So it kind of seems like most of their battles, Guts usually takes a lot of damage compared to Griffith. Griffith seems like he might be a little more skilled than Guts as far as, his fighting style doesn't give him that much damage, where Guts is more of a tankish type, more of a brutish type of fighter where he might take more damage. At least that's what I kind of get from that flashback, because Guts was the one that was laying injured on the ground, and Griffith was, on his feet, looked pretty fine, right? And he also has like heavier armor than Guts as well, so that could be a thing too. But we also see Griffith, he's talking about, I guess, trying to find his purpose in the universe and finding certain answers. Then we cut back to the whole labyrinth, and hell opens up. So that's what Griffith did when I thought he kind of zapped the girl. He opened up hell, the portal to hell. They pretty much gave the Count an ultimatum. The ultimatum being, A, you say that you sacrifice your daughter to us, it'll save your life. You could still live among humankind and demonkind alike. Or you don't, and you die, and you go get sent to hell. But, this whole time it was teasing like, hey, the Count might actually sacrifice his daughter. Like, it was just teasing that he might. And I was kind of thinking he could. I was thinking, hey, he might actually sacrifice his daughter, and it was, bro, it was intense, man. That moment was definitely intense to see if the Count would sacrifice his daughter or not. But the Count stayed true, and he didn't sacrifice his daughter. So his tie to fate was severed, and the souls of hell pretty much reached out and grabbed the Count and pulled him in. And they almost pulled in Guts as well, but Guts' final attempt at killing Griffith like saved his life, because he managed to break free of the souls, and then the portal closed and he was safe, you know. And then Teresia, she was going through it, she was, Guts pretty much told her like, hey, kill yourself. If you can't live with this, might as well kill yourself. Here's the knife. Go ahead. And she was contemplating doing it. Looked like she was about to do it, but Puck kind of stopped her. And then the ground from under her crumbled. And it was obvious to Guts that she wanted to live. And Guts saved her. And she grabbed onto the sword and saved herself. And then Guts like threw her to the ground away from the hole so she can live. Because, Guts didn't have strength like that to let her down gently. I get it. But she pretty much, despite Guts saving her, she pretty much blamed Guts for everything that happened and said that she will kill Guts eventually. And Guts was like, okay, go ahead. Whenever you're ready, I'll be waiting. But then Guts grabs his cape, he grabs the bottle, and then he walks away, and it obviously hurt him. Like the whole situation obviously like stung him, which it just shows more of Guts' true nature, not just the front that he puts on. And Puck notices that, and he keeps walking away, and that's pretty much the chapter right there. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Comment below what you thought about this chapter. If you're a fan of Berserk, let me know what you think about this chapter. Let me know what you think about the series. Try to hold any spoilers, but let me know. Let me know if you're enjoying the read-throughs and all that, guys. Also follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and join the Discord. But yeah, that's the video, guys. It's your boy Sean Peter Blumf God, and I'm out of here. Peace.